All right, Alexander, let's talk about the European Union, the economy in the EU, perhaps focus in on Germany being the largest, most important economy in the European Union. And let me start things off by asking you your thoughts with regards to what Robert Habeck said the other day during that television interview when he was asked about what companies are going to do and the insolvency of companies, small, medium-sized businesses in Germany. And Robert Habeck pretty much said, I'm paraphrasing, he pretty much said, look, I'm not worried about companies going bankrupt or becoming insolvent. They could just, close down for a little bit and then, come back to their business later. It's all right, he said. I'm not worried about insolvency. Companies, if they don't sell anything or they're not making money, they can just, take a pause and come back. And, he was saying stuff like that. And it caused quite a panic and an uproar in Germany, and rightly so, given the fact that Robert Habeck is, I call him the minister of everything in Germany. It seems like he's the vice chancellor, he's the minister of energy and of this and of that. I mean, jack of all trades, master of nothing. What do you make of his,
I completely agree. I completely agree. Well, just before we started doing this program, I was reading an article on Zero Hedge, which comes from a business magazine. It says that more and more German companies are quietly shutting down production, that they're not able to get energy or electricity, or at least not at affordable prices. And it brought back to my mind a comment you made when we heard all this talk about energy caps and, natural gas, caps on natural gas prices. And you said, cap what? You don't have any natural gas. What are you going to cap? And that's it looks like exactly the scenario that Germany is now facing. We're starting to see German industry shutting down. And the German chambers of commerce have now come out and issued a statement saying that this is a critical and disastrous situation. And as you said, the Lord High everything else, Vice Chancellor and Economics Minister Robert Habeck, he says, well, if everything shuts down, it's fine by him. I mean, I think, actually, that this is perhaps a pivotal moment in this crisis, because it has shown to the German people, for the first time, the nature of the leadership that they're getting. And what an incredibly dangerous individual, ultimately, Habeck is, because he has officially the position of economics minister, but he doesn't care about the German economy. He's perfectly happy, it seems, for the German economy to simply shut down. And I'm getting reports, I'm actually going to be speaking to someone from Germany very soon, but I'm getting reports that the mood in Germany has turned from nervous and edgy into something much darker, because they've heard Habeck, they've seen what Habeck had to say, and I mean, they were horrified by it, and so they should be.
Well, my question to you is, can Germany be saved at this point? I don't think it can, at least German industry, because even if they manage to replace Russian gas, my thinking on a very simplistic level is that even if you manage to get gas, which is going to, without a doubt, be much more expensive than what you had with Russia, your industry is priced out of competition.
Yeah.
I mean, the expenses are going to be too high for them to compete. And for small businesses, the expenses are going to be too high for them to stay open.
Absolutely.
To find, the profit over the goods that they sell and the services that they sell. So it doesn't seem like German business can be saved, except opening up Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 again, which that doesn't seem like a possibility either.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Can I just say, I mean, Habeck, one of the most extraordinary things about Habeck's whole approach to all of this is that he's been going around telling everybody, that we're going to find all these alternatives. He hasn't come up with any alternatives. He talked about LNG from the United States. That's not there. He talked about LNG from Qatar. That's not there either. And of course, he's talked about oil. And he said that, Germany doesn't need Russian oil because we've got all of these alternative sources of oil. Well, I was reading an article on oilprice.com, which is, an oil industry news sheet. And they were saying that, in fact, Europe, and by the way, that means Germany, over the last few months has been increasing its purchases of Russian oil to almost record levels to try to get as much oil as possible before the oil import ban comes into effect in December. And this article made the point that what that actually means is that the European Union, Germany, has no alternative to Russian oil. They have to import Russian oil. If they had an alternative to Russian oil, they wouldn't be buying so much from the Russians at this particular point in time. But Habeck, not just Habeck, the entire German government don't seem to care about any of this. They go on about, how we're going to get through the winter. Well, maybe they can, but they have no long-term plan for Germany. And your point that Germany is going to be priced out of markets because from now on, its industries are going to be uncompetitive because they're going to be paying premium prices for their energy, whereas before they were paying discounted prices for their energy. Habeck actually, a couple of weeks ago, said that was the case, and he doesn't seem to care.
Yeah. Let me ask you an interesting question. Let me see if I could phrase this correctly as well. Habeck reminds me of like the villain that you see in movies who believes that if they cause a certain amount of destruction, it'll actually benefit the world. Like something like Thanos in the Marvel comic books or something like, I'm going to wipe out half the planet in order to save the planet, in order to save, civilization. And when he snaps his finger, it's done. I can't take it back. And everyone is like, I can't believe what you did, but I've done it. People are shocked. I've done it. I've done what needed to be done in order to save the planet. I've caused a tremendous amount of destruction right now in the near term. But in my mind, I did it for the betterment of Germany, of society in 10 to 20 years. And everyone's kind of saying, I can't believe you did this, but you can't take it back now. I feel like Habeck has pushed that button. Yeah. He snapped his fingers and he said, it's done. Yeah. I jerked you guys around for 6 months. I'm going to Qatar. I'm doing this. Don't worry. I feel like it was all part of him just jerking everybody around, playing everybody for fools until he got to the point where it's like, what's done is done, everybody. It's over. We're on this path now. That's it. There's no turning back. We're on this green, sustainable, renewable utopia path that, me and Annalena have been talking about for so many decades. It's over. Do you get that sense?
Absolutely.
Listening to him during that interview, you get that sense that it's like, it's done. It's over.
Absolutely. I absolutely think that. I have to say, I share your complete cynicism about this. I think he knew perfectly well when he went to Qatar that he hadn't had any deals for LNG. I think he knew perfectly well when he went to the US, or rather when, Ursula went to the US and all those deals were done with the US, that there wasn't going to be LNG. I think he knows perfectly well what the situation is with oil. But what he has managed is he's now locked Germany in to a situation where it is going to deindustrialize and go for alternative fuels, because that's the utopia that he aims for. And of course, you compared him with these, supervillains from, fiction. I have to say, I think he probably doesn't think of himself as a supervillain. He probably thinks of himself as a sort of messianic figure who's leading us all to this wonderful green future. But if I have to say which villain he reminds me of most, it's actually the Joker. Because even if he might have some plan, ultimately all he creates is utter chaos. I mean, it's chaos and disaster and destruction, and that's all he offers. Now, I hope people in Germany do begin to understand this. I agree, the damage has been done. It will be all but impossible to repair. But perhaps you can save something from the wreck if you get rid of this man and his party as soon as possible. The longer he is there, the longer this government survives, the more damage he will do. And these incredibly cynical interviews which he's giving, because that was the interview he gave was unbelievably cynical, tells you the sort of person he really is.
Yeah. Do you think that Germany can do something? The people of Germany understand this, or not yet?
No, I don't think they fully do. I think one of the things about Germany, if you go to Germany, is because it's been so successful and so rich for so long. And because, let's say that there are some truths to the stereotypes, because Germany is a very conformist place. Trust in authority in Germany, as compared with other countries, tends to be very, very high. I think it's still very difficult for Germans to believe that their own government is intent on destroying their own future and even their present. I think that's not something that a lot of Germans have yet grasped. Some have, but I think it's going to take still a while before it fully percolates through. In the meantime, Habeck, or Thanos, as I might call him, is going to say, well, it's all Putin, and it's Putin who's doing this, and it's, so, and I think there's still a lot of people who are going to believe that.
Yeah, but time is working against Germany.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Every day is critical.
Every day is critical. You're absolutely right.
All right. Well, they'll leave it there, theduran.locals.com, and go to the Duran shop. 10% off. Use the code. Good day. Take care.